DA. There's a YouTube channel called Scientology Parent. It's a guy who has been in Scientology since he was 7 years old. He's now in his early 40s and said he recently achieved the state of clear. How on earth could it take a dedicated Scientologist 35 years to become clear? I understand that staff members usually don't get much auditing, but he was only a staff member for 10 of those years. Well, okay, there's a couple of things that get in the way of getting up to clear an OT, and the first one, of course, is money. It costs, and it costs a lot. And just when you think you're there, they pull the rug out from under you, they move the goalposts, and you have to pay even more and even more and even more. There's a lot of bait and switch that goes on in Scientology. So financially, it is difficult. And if you're not, if you're like lower middle class or below, or even middle class and below, which these days is, you know, the disparity is becoming greater and greater between the classes. But anyway, if you're in that income bracket, you're going to have a real hard time doing Scientology. You're constantly going to be in credit card debt, or you're going to be taking out mortgages and loans in order to fund your services. They are, I mean, a 12-and-a-half-hour block of auditing in Scientology will cost you at a regular city-level church somewhere on the order of $4,000, $5,000. I don't know the current prices right now. It used to, I mean, back in the 80s, it was $3,200 for an intensive, $4,000 full price. Well, that was in the 80s and 90s. I don't know where they're at now, so I'm kind of guesstimating up to $4,000 or $5,000. It could be more. That's just for 12-and-a-half-hour block of auditing. It's called an intensive. It will take you 10 to 12 to 15 to 20 intensives of auditing to go from an objectives completion all the way through to clear, if everything is running smooth. If it's not running smooth, it's going to take you more. And that's after you've done the purification rundown and done the objective processing. If you want to get the objective processing delivered to you professionally, that's going to be about 3 or 4 intensives worth of auditing. On a co-audit basis, it drags out even longer. It takes, you know, it's cheaper though, but it drags out. It's longer. So anyway, so that alone is, you know, thousands and thousands. What is it? I said 10 to 20 intensives. It depends on the person completely. But okay, so that's $50,000, $50,000 to $100,000 just to get to clear. Then you have the OT levels after that. So how many people have that much liquid, income just sitting around just waiting to spend it on Scientology, right? So not everybody who gets involved in Scientology is able to make that happen. And also as staff, now you mentioned this guy. I didn't look this channel up. I don't know who this person is, but you said he was on staff for 10 years. Well, I became clear as a staff member, but that was only because I was in the right place at the right time, where there was a staff member who was doing his auditing training and his internship, and he needed somebody to audit. And I was there to audit, and we were there, you know, working during the day, so he started taking me in session. Had that one guy not been there to do that, I would not have gotten any auditing as a Scientology staff member. So it was really just kind of, you know, fortuitous or fortunate or whatever. I mean, I always have to look back on this, and I'm talking in the terms of the values of the moment then, not now. Like, I don't look at it now as a valuable thing, but at the time I did. Anyway, so that was how I went clear as a staff member, but I was the exception, not the rule. A ton of people I knew who were staff members with me, Sea Org members as well later, they hardly made any bridge progress. I mean, in 17 years as a Sea Org member, I didn't move one step on the bridge. 17 years. And the Sea Org is 24/7. Like, I was immersed in the Scientology world. How was it that I didn't go clear or didn't go on to the OT levels? Well, because you need an auditor. And all the auditors in most of the organizations, especially at the Sea Org level, are dedicated to auditing the public, the paying public, right? So most staff members are not getting up the bridge. Most Sea Org members do not get up the bridge. I can't tell you how many old-time Scientologists I knew who were in the Sea Org who just died, you know, and didn't get anywhere. But they dedicated their whole life to it. I mean, they were involved in the Sea Org for 20, 30 years. So, And there's also the other factor that I'll just comment on real fast here that also gets in the way is sometimes you have organizations or setups where you do have the possibility or availability of the staff being able to co-audit or get auditing, but they get a bit of a martyr complex going, and they feel like, they got to dedicate, I got to work hard and do all this for the public and get them going, and I'll be later, I'll take care of myself later, right? And they never do get taken care of. That was, the final straw for me, actually, was realizing, I've said a lot of things along the way that sort of triggered my questioning and triggered my, sort of wondering about whether I was involved in something good. But the final straw for me was the day I realized that nobody was ever going to care about me getting up the bridge in the Sea Org. After 17 years, it was obvious. I mean, the empirical evidence was right in front of my eyes, right? How many more years do I need to go? So I finally went, if I'm ever going to get up this bridge, I got to leave the Sea Org and I got to go get a job and pay for it. And that was what I planned on doing until the end of 2013, when things went, south really fast. So anyway, that's the answer to that question. I hope that gives you some good information.